that as we have sought to minimize, and I want to remind you, sir, that people were saying, who should know better, that the government needs to send home 5,000 people. 5,000 people, sir, at least, is what they were saying, what we should do. And I want to say to you, sir, and remind Barbadians through you, that because we have now reached a stage where we are going to conclude the external debt restructuring, and we have already concluded the domestic side, that the total savings that we will expect from both the domestic and the external debt restructuring, sir, amounts to $1.2 billion per year for the next 4 years. And that $1.2 billion, sir, is more than the entire public sector wage bill. Over 4 years, it will be almost $5 billion in savings. Now, great. Sir, that's great. It is unfortunate that you will hear people saying that you should send home 5,000 people. It could never make sense to anybody, sir. Could never make sense to anybody that after 10 years of I don't know, it's malpractice, mismanagement, sir, no matter how you look at it, sir, madness, that after 10 years of all of that, after 10 years of all of that, that the first thought would be that you should send home 5,000 people. And that is why it's important for Barbadians to appreciate that as we are going through this period, not just of stabilization, but transformation, sir, that this government has put in place an alternative, sir, that in a sense minimizes the impact that it would have had on the thousands of households across this country by pursuing a comprehensive debt restructuring that allows for the burden to be shared much more fairly and equitably, so that when people say, sir, when people say that we only focus on the economy, that is absolutely not true. Because anybody that purports, sir, to say that they're looking out for the society, but then will suggest that somehow 5,000 people should be sent home, this Barbados Labour Party government said, no, sir, we are going another way. And that we, sir, are going to ensure that the opportunities that we know are going to unlock for Barbadians, that as we come out of this this economic recovery, that it is our business and it is our intention, sir, to ensure that the growth is as inclusive as possible by making opportunities available directly to those who were affected. Now, sir, for some, we will be criticized for that, but let them criticize. Because at the end of the day, sir, all of us in this chamber, as far as I'm aware, signed up to the same covenant of hope. All of us signed up to the same manifesto. All of us knew exactly what the plan was. All of us in here, sir, all of us in here, sir, every manja in here, sir, signed up to the same plan. Every manja in here, sir, signed up to the same plan. And every manja in here, sir, signed up to the same plan. And this government...
Member for Sim, Michael West, on point of... on what do you stand? Point of...
A point of order.
Point of order?
A point of order, Mr. Deputy Speaker. The honourable member is misleading the House. Now, I heard escape the lips of the Prime Minister that they're missing me over there, but we're not supposed to hear those asides. It continues to baffle me. The honourable member of Christchurch, East, Central, Minister of State in the Ministry of Finance, said just now what repeatedly has been said so many times in here and elsewhere. All of us signed up for this. The contradiction continues to baffle me when the same lips would say, we discovered this only after we came to office. We discovered this only after we came to office. We became aware of the problem only. We became aware of the nature and depth of the problem, the serious, perilous state in which the economy of Barbados stood only after we came to office. Yet all of us signed up to this before even the election was held.
Member for Christchurch.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I am at a loss as to what was the point, because as far as I know, sir, the entire parliamentary group of the Barbados Labour Party prior to the election went through a very comprehensive preparation of the manifesto. The economic team briefed the parliamentary group, sir, along the way as to what would be required after the election, sir. And therefore, sir, I can only refer the honourable member. I can only refer the honourable member to reread the manifesto of the Barbados Labour Party for 2018. give me, sorry.
On a point, member for Sir Michael West. Christchurch East Central, please continue.
Just for clarity, sir, and for the record of the House, you can see the manifesto of 2018, yeah, which has already been laid in this chamber. So right. I'm just for those who are listening, who may not have the benefit. Sir, on page 6 of our manifesto, export to the mission critical agenda, sir. And 1, it said rebuilding our foreign reserves is number 1, but then on page 7, sir, it says dealing with debt. And let me read it, sir. Let me read it just so that we are clear. The government's high debt is choking the life out of our economy and limiting national growth, sir. We will wrestle with the national debt and breathe life back into the economy. Reprofile Barbados' debt by renegotiating existing obligations. The government spends over $500 million per year on interest payments, sir. Reprofiling the debt will give us elbow room to address the country's mission critical issues. Elbow room. It will ensure that the burden of economic adjustment, sir, is shared fairly and does not, as is usually the case, fall disproportionately onto workers, sir. Wait. Along with other sources of funding and savings, the fiscal space achieved through debt reprofiling will be used to finance an important capital works program to cover fixing the South Coast and Bridgetown sewage plants, sir, which the honourable member for Christchurch East has started already. Acquiring additional buses for the transport board, sir. Addressing problems with garbage collection, sir. Providing equipment necessary for the Ministry of Public Works to embark on an immediate road repair program. Providing for an expansion of the accident emergency and expansion of opening hours for the polyclinic, sir. Preparing ourselves to face the 2018 hurricane season. And the last, one of the most important things, sir, paying fees for Barbados students at the University of the West Indies, sir. Mission critical. So when the honourable member says that he does not know, and I will go to the back of the manifesto, sir, and it's as if the cameras could possibly pan in, sir. The Prime Minister is there, the Prime Minister is there, the member for St. Michael West is there, and mine, sir, is next to his, sir.
member for St. Michael West. Member for St. Michael West is on his feet. On what do you raise, sir?
Same point of order. The honorable member is misleading the House.
Order.
I do not know if by his reference to the signatures in the order in which they appear, he was signaling that there was some presumed pecking order. But that is not the point.
Pecking order.
That is not the point. The point is this. And the point is this. This repeated reference to my signature on a manifesto and the further suggestion that I'm now taking some different positions is misleading to this chamber and to the public of Barbados. The government, the now administration may have made it clear when in opposition, we will reprofile the debt and deal with the debt. We will ensure that there's a proper level of foreign reserves obtained in Barbados. These things are true. These things are desirous, and all right-thinking Barbadians would agree. Show me where in that manifesto it says, we will raid the national insurance scheme. Show me where in that manifesto it says, we will raid the Central Bank of Barbados.
Raid.
Raid. Show me where in there it says, we will rob the pensioners of Barbados. Show me where in the manifesto it indicates that pensioners in Barbados will be put under the stress under which they have been put by government's restructuring program. Show me these things.
Point of order.
Show me these things. Show me where it says we will put the financial institutions, the banking sector in Barbados under stress by the restructuring efforts that we will undertake. Show me.
You'll have your time.
Show me. Show me where you sign that. Show me where you sign that.
All right, St. Michael West, please.
Let the honorable member show us where he signed that.
You'll have your time, Chance. The member for Christchurch West Central. All right, the member for Christchurch West Central.
Mr. Deputy Speaker.
Show me where you signed that.
All right.
The honourable member for St. Michael West obviously wants to forget all of the briefings that we had whilst we were in opposition. The reality, sir, is this. The reality is this, sir. The previous government, sir, because he spoke on two NAS and Central Bank. So I'm gonna deal with both of them. The previous government, sir, I just want to make it clear again for Barbadians. The previous government, sir, asked the NAS to undertake the financing of incompetent expenditure, sir. But then by the same token, sir, refused to pay national insurance contributions for the government workers of Barbados for nearly 3 years, sir. Refused to pay rents to the NAS, sir, for almost 3 years. Hold on, wait, hold on. You're gonna...
On the point of what?
Oh, so the member is.
Please.
The previous government did not ask the NAS to take a haircut.
Member for Christchurch Essential.
Mr. Deputy Speaker. Mr. Deputy Speaker, we, in providing a level of stability to the public finances, sir, we have ensured that all of the national insurance contributions that were owed to NIS, all of the payments, sir, because the issue with respect to national insurance specifically was that the expenditure, Mr. Deputy Speaker, the expenditure that the previous government was undertaking, sir, put the trajectory of the national insurance and the stability of the fund in peril. What we have done, sir, with respect to the debt restructuring on the domestic side for national insurance, because as you can appreciate, sir, national insurance and social security, sir, is meant to provide a safety net over the long term. And therefore, if you're asking an institution, sir, that is interested in long-term stability to purchase, sir, short-term treasury bills which the government of Barbados was incapable, sir, of paying back. Incapable of paying back, sir. This government restructured the domestic debt, and we have put, sir, this economy on a path of stability. that over the course of the next 15 years, sir, that the national insurance and the pensioners of Barbados and those who aspire to retire in this country, sir, can be assured that their pensions will be paid, because this Barbados Labour Party government, sir, took the liabilities from the short term and spread it over the long term, sir. That is what this government did. As far as the central bank is concerned, sir, when this government left office in 2008, the Central Bank of Barbados had zero, sir, holding of treasury bills for the government of Barbados. Zero. When we came to office, sir, May of last year, and we looked at the numbers, and let me just say this very carefully in case the honourable member misinterprets.
Right.
We took the Prime Minister, myself, and the honourable member for St. Michael's South Central took a briefing. We took an economic briefing on May 25th, sir, from the central bank, from the national insurance, from the officials of the Ministry of Finance, 2 hours, sir, after the Prime Minister and the AG were sworn in on May 25th, sir. And they brought everything, sir, that was previously not shown to the public, sir, and gave us in that briefing. Everything. Now, yes, because officially we were entitled to see, but we knew well in advance what was required to be done. And it was the first time, sir, the first time that as members of the Barbados Labour Party that we saw officially what was the true state of the Barbados economy. And that was because the people of Barbados went to the polls on May 24th, sir, and voted overwhelmingly for the path that this country will need to go on under the Barbados Labour Party. So when the honourable member speaks about or trying to suggest that you're seeing things for the first time, of course we saw it for the first time, because when we were asking for things to be shown and told to this country, sir, it never was. And we took that briefing, sir, and immediately on taking that briefing on the Friday afternoon, after the Friday afternoon, it became crystal clear, sir, to us what we had already articulated in the manifesto, that dealing with debt was going to be the number 2 thing as it relates to the mission critical agenda. So the briefing, sir, just confirmed what we already knew.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Now, sir, he spoke about the central bank. I started to say, sir, that at the end of 2007 into 2008, the central bank did not hold a piece of government paper as it relates to treasury bills. Zero, sir. Zero. By the time we took over, the central bank had almost $2 billion in treasury bills. When you heard us talking about the printing of money, sir, the printing of money, that, sir, threatened the stability of the Barbados dollar. Threatened the stability of the Barbados dollar. And let me just say to you, sir, now that we're talking about the central bank, because I want to remind the honourable member of what we did in the first 2 months of coming to this office. When we took over, sir, and I just want to refresh the memory of the honourable member. We came to office in May, sir, as you know, 2 months basically into the financial year. And at that time, sir, the Ways and Means was almost at its limit. 2 months in the financial year, no, sir? 2 months in the financial year. We had no space. But despite that, sir, we came to this honourable chamber and we reduced the limits on the Ways and Means for the central bank from 10%, sir, to 7.5%. And we put in a limit, sir, of central bank spending with respect to primary securities, and we capped it at 10% of expenditure. And then we proceeded, sir, to restructure the debt that the central bank was holding, because the central bank, sir, under the previous governor, and the previous Minister of Finance, sir, printed money and put the very economic fundamentals and stability of this country, sir, in peril. And therefore, the notion of suggesting that we raided the central bank is nonsense, sir. We took the responsibility for solving a very serious problem, sir, a very serious problem that affected the lives of every single Barbadian in this country and those yet to be born, sir. Because had we not taken the decisions that we took last year, June, sir, I would not be able to tell you what Barbados will look like today had we continued on the path of the Democratic Labour Party. So we ensure, sir, that one, the central bank focuses on monetary policy and not on supporting runaway government expenditure, and we took the responsibility for dealing with the central bank. Having done that, sir, we've had to recapitalize the central bank. And you know, sir, it's really interesting that the honourable member at the very beginning of this debate questioned why we will be doing order number 7 as a cognate debate. Because order number 7, sir, if the honourable member read and internalized the debate that went before, that very validation bill, sir, put in place a series of bonds that was meant to recapitalize the very central bank, sir, that he's now castigating this government, as he says, for raiding under the debt restructuring. Now, sir, this is not time for politics in that way. Because when we came to office, sir, we all came to office with the same mission. And that mission has not changed, sir. But you know what has the honourable member scared, sir? It's because all 30 of us, sir, came to this place with a very clear focus on what was required to save this country. And because one of us, sir, determined that he was going to go on a different path, we had to steer the ship, sir, over the last 17 months, one man short. But we have done so, sir, focus on improving the lives of the people of Barbados. But, sir, we have found the relief. We have found the relief, sir. And what has the honourable member read is that the relief, sir, is there, and he's nervous now with respect to how, sir, we are going to move this country going forward. And that is all that is that.
Member for St. Michael West.
The honourable member from Christchurch East Central continues to mislead the House, Mr. Speaker, because he says this is not a debate, this is not about politics, this is not time for politics. He continues to be political in what he's saying, while at the same time saying there's not about politics. He started down this road when he referred to a manifesto and talked about all 30 people having signed it. And all I'm simply saying that is misleading, because there's no indication in that manifesto of the particular policy specifics you were going to implement to address debt restructuring and the building up of foreign reserves. And you have embarked upon a series of initiatives which have inflicted serious pain upon the people of Barbados and upon some of the financial institutions in Barbados. That is all I am saying. And if he can show me where he, the honourable gentleman from Christchurch East Central, signed any manifesto or any document declaring that they would have done these specific things before he came into government, he has to show me that. He has to show the public of Barbados that. Show the public of Barbados that.
Continue, member for Christchurch East Central.
Thanks, sir. It is obvious that the honourable member would like his signature to be removed, and I think that we have already sorted that, sir, and we will move on.
What do you raise?
The honourable member is misleading the House. I have not bothered or asked either the honourable member himself or the government to do anything for me. And you know, I really, Mr. Speaker, could seek to become fairly difficult and speak to the matter of signature. Because I recall when I signed on a piece of paper, it was quite blank. It was quite, that is a dangerous thing. I didn't want to speak to the, I did not, Mr. Speaker.
All right.
Oh yeah, oh yes. I did not want to speak. Mr. Deputy Speaker, if I may be allowed to speak.
I think
members
on the point of order. Please continue.
Because they make a lot of fuss about signature on manifesto and other documents. I think each of them here would admit that he or she put their honorable signatures on a blank piece of paper which in this day, I dare say, is a very dangerous thing. And Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, would caution honorable members to reflect on the fact that it is possible that that same signature they put on a blank piece of paper several months ago can easily appear on any other document in Barbados, including letters of resignation as ministers from cabinet.
That's a serious point. I don't find a point of order on that occasion.
That's cool, no problem.
Member, please continue. Member for, on a point of...
is misleading this chamber.
I think you have to, on a point of order, member for Christchurch East will speak, and then you can give a point of order. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Let us refocus the discussion, because it is clear that sorry.
Member for Christchurch East, you want to raise, you want a point of order now? Yeah, you can have a point of order now.
Because it is necessary, sir, that the record of this chamber reflects what actually happened, so that nobody's reputation here is sullied inadvertently or by design. Sir, with respect to the manifesto, we had numerous sessions over months, and it ended with, I think, a 12 or 14-hour session where we went through pretty much every aspect of the manifesto. Yes, we signed on a blank piece of paper, but that was identified as the signature page for the fact of publication. But by that time, every aspect of the manifesto had been agreed to by every single person in the party. So, sir, if the
all candidates.
Yeah. If the honorable member of the opposition, the honorable leader of the opposition wishes to indicate or suggest that something was added into subsequent to his agreement that he did not sign for, then he needs to point out exactly what that is. Otherwise, his statement is entirely misleading, and it puts not just the integrity of whoever passed the paper to him, but also my integrity and the integrity of everybody else who signed in question. And I will not have this in that chamber, in this chamber, for digestion by the public of Barbados.
What do you raise?
The honourable member for Christchurch East is misleading the House. Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Because he cannot at one and the same time suggest that I am misleading the House and the public when I say I signed on a blank piece of paper, and then come back in the same breath and say, indeed, we all signed on a blank piece of paper. I'm not saying that there's anything in that manifesto to which they refer that I want my name disassociated with. That is not the point. The point I am making is that there is nothing in that manifesto, contrary to what the Honourable Member for Christchurch East Central is saying, that said to the public of Barbados, the central bank would have to take a haircut, the NIS would have to take a haircut, poor pensioners in Barbados would have to take a haircut, banking institutions in Barbados, other financial institutions would be put under stress. There's nothing in that manifesto that says that. So don't point to a manifesto and say that my name is on it.
You have made your point. Can you continue, please? It's central.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, the reality of the situation in Barbados as we found it required that the government made a significant departure from what the previous Democratic Labour Party government was doing. We spent, sir, countless nights, not just on the manifesto, but certainly, sir, looking at the members of the economic team, focusing on how, sir, we were going to execute a program that will bring recovery, but by the same token, sir, that we will make choices that will not be burdensome on labor and indeed the people of Barbados. Now, we knew, sir, that once we restructure the debt, that we would in fact be reducing the interest income for these entities. When we look and examine, sir, as you know, oftentimes, and I'll just use an example of a mortgage, sir. When you take out a 20 or 25, 30-year mortgage, sir, for about the first 12 to 15 years of mortgage payment, sir, all you are paying is interest.
Yes.
And if you take out, sir, a mortgage of about $250,000 or so, and depending on the interest rate, sir, that you actually take it out at, some people, sir, could end up paying in excess of, in total, probably about $600,000, sometimes $650,000 in total over the life of that mortgage, sir, which would suggest somewhere in the region of $350,000 to $400,000 in interest, sir. When we examine the debt profile, sir, and because of the many downgrades that happened under the previous government, sir, our debt became expensive. It kept becoming expensive every day, every week, every month under the Democratic Labour Party, sir. And yes, whilst individuals and banks and insurance companies and everybody, they were getting a higher than normal interest income, we recognized that that was unsustainable, because all that we will be doing, sir, is making our grandchildren, sir, when they become mature adults, be hamstrung, sir, because whether you like it or not, when you incur debt today, at some stage in the future, sir, it means that your taxation would have to go up. And, sir, we took a decision that we needed to ensure that to have some measure of intergenerational equity, so that the very young people that we ask to go back to university, sir, and pay the fees for, that when they graduate, sir, that they are not hamstrung with choking debt and having to work to have higher incomes in order to help to finance debt that they did not incur. And this is the point, the more salient point, sir, because I don't want the public to misunderstand the conversation necessarily about debt. I want to reiterate, sir, that at the end of 2007, our debt was just about $6.5 billion, our public debt in the region. And I want to remind through you, sir, that since 1955 or 61, around there, sir, when we started to our own developmental path with respect to providing secondary school education for Barbadians, and we started to expand. And I want to make the absolute point, sir, all of our polyclinics were not built the same time. All of our primary schools were not built the same time. All of our facilities in government were not built the same time. So over a 50-year period, sir, over a 50-year period, our hospital, the harbor, all of the infrastructure in Barbados, sir, were built, and debt would have been incurred to build and to develop this country. So if you are telling me, sir, that we can do all of that over 50 years and just incur $6.5 billion or so in debt, but in 10 years, sir, we ain't get a new hospital, we ain't get a new airport, we ain't get well, they had 1 or 2 upgrades for primary schools, but, sir, there was nothing substantial to suggest that an increase of $5 billion in public debt, sir, in 10 years, but yet the infrastructure of this country, sir, under the Democratic Labour Party, sir, so you ask yourself, where the money going, sir? Where the money going? And so, once we have always associated ourselves responsibly, sir, with building an economy, yes, and building a society, because, sir, our polyclinics, our schools, the pavilions, sir, the play parks, all of those public infrastructures, sir, the road network, sir, would have been developed because we ran, sir, a responsible government that built up debt over 50 years, sir, that just reached $6.5 billion approximately. But in 10 years, sir, we almost doubled the debt, and there's nothing to show for it. And I want, through you, sir, and members in this honorable chamber, to appreciate that when we said the debt was choking us, we simply, sir, could not, and I say we because we're the government, we took the responsibility on May 21st for fixing it, and that's what we are doing, sir. And when we look at the nature of the debt, and I just want to remind the honorable member, because we restructured the treasury bills, sir, the treasury bills. And you know why we had to restructure the treasury bills, sir? Because the very financial institutions, including the central bank, which was aiding and abetting, in a sense, sir, the previous government, under the previous governor, because of the many credit ratings, the many downgrades, sir, in our credit ratings, the financial institutions ran to what they presumed was safety. Because a 90-day, you will lend a man money for 90 days, but you ain't gonna lend it for 10 years. Because of the way the financial system was. So the reality of the situation was, sir, we had this increase, a significant increase in the issuance of treasury bills. And when we look at the debt stock, sir, we had to restructure that, because had we not touched the significant increase in treasury bills, we would not have achieved anything meaningful, because it was the requirement, sir, to keep servicing this expensive short-term debt that was creating the problems for the lives of the people of Barbados. Now, sir, one could imagine, honestly, and this is what, and if there is a political point to be made, sir, if you're going to run up short-term debt, then you cannot have sewage flowing on the South Coast, sir, for 3 years. But in spite of all of this, sir, we had to come to office and fix all of these things, sir, at a time when we had no room. But we made the determination that we're going to bite the bullet, and we're going to focus the resources on where they needed to be focused, so that the people of Barbados can start to feel a sense of pride that it has a government, sir, that is prepared to take tough decisions and prepared to lead. But, sir, we now must embark on a path now where our recovery, sir, is rooted in the fact that, one, the faith in the government of Barbados, as we have, as I said, we started to repay all of those arrears that were owed by the previous government. We are staying current with respect to our obligations, and it is not easy, sir, because it is that discipline that is required, sir, to give the public of Barbados and to give any investor, whether in our securities or any potential investor who wants to come and put money in Barbados, the confidence that Barbados is a well-run and ordered society and country and economy. You cannot separate them, sir. And this government intends to do just that. So when I spoke earlier about all of us committing to dealing with debt, well, there, sir, this is how we have dealt with it. This is how we have dealt with it. And as I made the point earlier, sir, we restructured the short-term debt, the treasury bills, to ensure that the very institutions that, in terms of the banks, and mind you, sir, the banks made quite a bit of profit in the last 10 years, but I wouldn't disparage the making of profits. But the reality is, we have taken a decision that we will restructure on the domestic side, the treasury bills, and spread that out over a longer period of time that would, in a sense, preserve the stability and solvency of the national insurance in particular. And as the central bank has the terms under the validation bill, which is order number 7, which we agreed previously in this parliament, those terms are there to help recapitalize the central bank in terms of the hit that it took on its balance sheet. But that is how, sir, we have determined that we're going to move going forward. And this comprehensive debt restructuring was designed specifically to allow us, sir, to pay down our debt to 60% of GDP by 2033. And this is the path, sir, that in 2 weeks ago, a few days ago, I at the conclusion of the debt negotiations in Washington, sir, I again reiterated to the Credit Committee that this government was intending to restore those macroeconomic fundamentals, that when they looked at Barbados 20 years ago and determined that they were going to invest, that those same metrics is what we are trying to restore, if not better. And we also gave a commitment, sir, in our manifesto to return our country to investment grade.
Right.
And as we've done with the domestic debt restructuring, we've got that upgrade after the restructuring. We will anticipate that as at the conclusion of the debt exchange offer, that when we re-engage the credit rating agencies and they see what we're doing, as we resume our payments, that we would anticipate that equally we will have a similar upgrade on the external debt. All of this, sir, is designed to give Barbadians and those who wish to do business with Barbados the confidence, sir, that the macroeconomic stability of this country and the management of the public finances, sir, are on a trajectory that will give investors the confidence to put monies back into Barbados. Now, sir, the notion, and I want to make this point clearly, for many years there's been, you heard the previous administrations spoke about projects. And you wondered why the projects wouldn't start. Now, sir, the reality is that when you start to get downgrade after downgrade after downgrade after downgrade, it makes financing expensive, sir. Expensive. And as I said to you earlier, June last year, the interest rate on that Credit Suisse bond, sir, was just under 13%. So imagine you as a company, sir, trying to do business in Barbados in an environment where the government is paying out monies at almost 13%. If the government is paying out monies at almost 13%, and you're a company operating in Barbados, sir, then you don't have the same resources as the government. If you don't have the same resources as the government, then, and you're smaller, then of necessity it means that you are riskier than the government of Barbados. And therefore the point is, sir, that the creditworthiness of government, sir, is critical, which is why, sir, as we have said, and I will get to the terms and conditions of the bond in the schedule clearly shortly, because I want to make this very salient point. If the government was paying almost 13% in interest whenever any company goes to raise foreign capital, and in an environment, sir, where the reserves were dropping, sir, daily, week after week, month after month, year after year, sir, then reasonably, anybody that would be prepared to lend you foreign currency would expect a higher rate of interest than what the government would have been paying. And therefore, this restructuring, sir, allows us now to move that interest rate from almost 13%, sir, down to 6.5%. 6.5%. Now, sir, it is still a relatively high interest rate. But that is part of the negotiation, sir. Because now it means that the nature of the expense with respect to any company that wishes to do business in Barbados, sir, the resolution of this exchange offer would allow now for companies now to be able to attract better rates of interest, so that as we move forward into 2020, that we can then start to see the unlocking of foreign direct investment, as well as local companies being able to secure financing, whether regionally or internationally, such that this economy, sir, will then start to see things starting to unwind. And that is what we said that we will do, sir, because we said that we will deal with the debt because it was limiting national growth. We had extensive discussions on these matters, sir. All of us. All. And therefore, having done a little more heavy lifting, because the truth is, sir, as I said, we were a man short. We were a man short. And had we not been a man short, we probably could have resolved this a little sooner.
Mr. Deputy,
What you raise?
point of order. The
Point of
honourable member is
order.
misleading her. As long as he continues to try to poke at me, I will respond. He obviously does not want to make his speech without interruption. I don't know what he's talking about when he refers to a man short. The public of Barbados, believes that you are about 15 men too many. You know, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I have never joined in that chorus of voices. They should criticize the government for the large cabinet. I've never done that. But if you repeatedly refer and make reference to a man short, I will have to remind you, in your own interest, that the public believes that you are about 13 or 14 men and women too many, not one man short.
All right, no
So
point
get
of
the
order.
job done.
Member, continue.
I learned from you, no carry.
The reality is this, sir. The reality is this. All of us in this chamber, sir, have had to, the Prime Minister will say to us, sir, roll up our sleeves. And sometimes, sir, I got to be honest with you, I don't think I have any more sleeves to roll up. Because we, sir, have been at work from day one, sir. Day one. And, sir, we have not let up. All I'm referring to, sir, is that in this fight to save Barbados, sir, all of us, sir, have to commit to the task. All of us. All of us, sir. And so, when we set out the mission, we set out the mission, sir, with a certain collective in mind. And we have had to adjust, sir, whether we like it or not, we have had to make an adjustment with respect to that. And that's all I'm saying, sir. And the reality, sir, is that we have been able to come to this place despite, sir, being worn down. And we will continue to go forward, sir, despite being worn down, because whether the honourable member wishes to hear it or not, we in this chamber, sir, are committed to saving Barbados. If he does not want to be a part of the saving of Barbados, then say so. But the rest of us, sir, we are committed to saving Barbados for the lives of all of our citizens, sir.
Honourable member for
The honourable member is
West.
again misleading the House, Mr. Deputy Speaker. The honourable member who stands before you, who has the honor to represent people of St. Michael West, and in this role, in this chair, people of Barbados, is here in this position because he wants to be part of the effort of saving Barbados. But saving Barbados cannot mean that you agree with everything said by the other side or done by the other side. There are those over there who may want to sing in the choir for whatever reason. But if there is need to say this is wrong or to ask why you do that, then those issues must be raised. And that is my role. And I simply caution the honourable member again to desist from saying you're one down, because the public perception is you are about 13 or 14 too many. And
Okay,
I repeat,
that's it.
no, I am allowed to repeat myself in here until I am heard. And Mr. Deputy Speaker, all I am saying is he needs to reflect upon that caution, because there's a view that you're about 13 too many and not that you are one short. And I say again, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I have never criticized the 26-member cabinet. I have always said my view is I will judge them on their performance and not by the number on the other side. I still hold that view. So you're not a one down. You are not one down.
Made your point.
The public believes you're about 12 or 13 too many.
Essential. Please continue.
Yes, sir. So the rest of us are committed to saving the country. and we will continue to do so. But let me move on, sir, because this is becoming quite a circular conversation. Now, sir, the resolution before the chamber is an important one. And, you know, sir,
The resolution.
if one loses focus in this battle, then it has the ability, sir, or the potential, I should say, to impact, I think, negatively on the lives of Barbadians. And this government, sir, remains committed, remains focused on restoring, sir, that confidence in Barbadians and that pride, sir, in Barbadians, knowing that it has a government who understands, sir, what is required to be done, who will communicate, sir, throughout the process as it is being done, and will come to this place where we were elected to represent our various constituencies, sir, to report to the country what progress has been made. Now, sir, I take this particular opportunity just to remind some of us in here, and I use that word deliberately, some of us, that phrase, sorry, some of us, that you can go to the media to ask questions about what is happening to X, Y, and Z. But all of us in this chamber, sir, all of us have a responsibility to come and report to this chamber what has been done in the name of the people of Barbados, and this government shall continue to do that whilst we may engage in other means of disseminating information to the public. As parliamentarians, sir, it is incumbent for us to understand, some of us to understand, that the process of coming to Parliament and bringing resolutions and bills to give effect to what the government has done in the name of the people of Barbados, sir, that whilst it is cute perhaps to go to the media to make it appear as if there is something sinister taking place, that this government, sir, has committed to a process of transparency, openness, and we shall continue, sir, to communicate with the people of Barbados. But through you, sir, it is important to note that anything that is done, sir, we have come here to this place, bring the appropriate legislation, sir, have debates like these that gives the details with respect to what it is the public can expect that its government has done on its behalf, and therefore we shall continue to do that, sir, because that is our responsibility to so do. And so, sir, I just wish to turn quickly to the terms of condition in Schedule 3, in the schedule, just to articulate clearly, sir, precisely what it is that we are offering under the debt exchange. Now, sir, the issuer is the government of Barbados, as you know. The trustee is the Bank of New York Mellon Corporation. We shall be issuing two instruments, sir. One US dollar, 6.50% bonds due in 2029, which is referred to as the 2029 bonds, and one US dollar 6.5 bond due in 2021. The bond that will be issued, which is a 10-year bond until 2029, is up to US $547 million. The second bond is the past due interest bond, because as you are aware, sir, when we suspended the debt payments on June 1st, we stopped paying the interest on the external debt, and therefore between then and the end of September, interest would have accrued. And therefore, we have designed two specific bonds which will, on this second one, will repay the interest that would have accumulated over the last 16 months, sir, and that is what this specific bond will do, and that is up to 32.5 million US dollars. Now, sir, with the first bond, the maturity date is the 1st of October 2029, and the second bond, which is the past due interest bond, the maturity date is the 1st of February 2021. For both bonds, sir, the interest rates, as I mentioned earlier, 6.5%. And just to remind the chamber that the bonds that were previously, the Credit Suisse bond that was previously on the market, in a sense, was trading at just short of 13% as far as the interest rate is concerned. Now, sir, just to be clear, we have wrapped up or rolled into one 4 specific large bonds that were issued in the past. And I just want to articulate through you, sir, to the public what those main structures are. Initially, we had a US $150 million bond at 7.5% when it was originally issued. That was due on the 15th of December 2021. We had a US $200 million at 7%, sir, that was due on the 4th of August 2022. We had a US $190 million when it was issued at 6.625. That was due in December of 2035. And the Credit Suisse, which was borrowed in 2013, that was US $225 million, that was due to mature in 2019. But that was the bond, sir, that was being traded at close to, in terms of the real interest rate, at close to 13%, that created the issues with respect to where we are. Now, sir, what we've done is to roll that quantum of debt, as well as a few other smaller debts, to restructure that into this instrument now, which will be reissued as one, of up to $547.5 million. Now, sir, as far as amortization, interest payment dates, the 1st of April and the 1st of October each year is when the interest payments will be made with respect to these bonds. One of the important features, and I want to stress this for the House, one of the important features of this new bond, the 2029 bond, especially, is that there will be amortization. Now, our bonds in the past, sir, just for the benefit of the House, our bonds in the past, we would only pay interest semi-annually, twice a year, sir. So, for example, I indicated that there was US $150 million that was due in 2021. Now, all of this, sir, and then there was US $200 million due in August of 2022. So all of this formed part of the policy making, sir, when we took office last year and we looked at the trajectory with respect to where our reserves were, and if we did not change the trajectory with respect to what was happening with the debt, the government of Barbados would then have to look for $150 million US, which is 300 million Barbados dollars, in 2021, as well as $400 million in 2022. And given where we were, sir, we took a judgment that we would have been incapable of servicing those 2 bonds at the current market rate and being able to roll over given where our bonds were trading. So what we have chosen to do is that instead of waiting to repay all of this money at the end, sir, which the existing bonds were issued under, and I just want to indicate to the country why we've taken this decision. Because when we issued those bonds, as I said, the country was investment grade. And when you are investment grade, so you can go into the market confidently and raise capital. But after you've received 24 downgrades, sir, and nobody's prepared to lend you anything unless it's at some fairly exorbitant terms, then your ability, sir, to raise capital is impacted, and therefore, because we have embarked on a responsible way to manage the public finances, we will be amortizing these bonds over the course of the 10 years, because we will essentially, sir, be paying down the principal. And because you're paying down the principal early, it means that the interest on the reducing balance, sir, which is what happens normally with most things, is that you will save with the interest, but it means that you have to be disciplined, sir, with respect to being able to finance government's operations. And so we've amortized these bonds, and the amortizing for the 2029 bond, sir, will be in 10 equal semi-annual payments from the 1st of April 2025 through to the 1st of October 2029, which means, sir, that we have a grace period between when we've issued these bonds and when we shall be required to do the amortization with respect to the bonds. As far as the past due interest bonds, sir, 2 installments of US $30 million on the 1st of October 2020 and the remaining 2.5 on the 1st of February 2021. Now, sir, there will be a cash payment of US $7.5 million to be paid in cash at the close of the holders participating in the exchange. The adverse weather clause, sir, as we did with respect to the domestic debt restructuring, these bonds now include the 2-year grace period on principal and interest in the event, sir, that Barbados is impacted by a severe hurricane or some other environmental impact, so it's such that it gives the country the ability, some space, breathing room, sir, in order to rebuild quickly, and that those debt payments will be diverted to the rebuilding efforts of the country. The adverse weather clause, sir, is not applicable to the past due bonds, but that is always given the short nature with respect to the accrued interest. The principal reinstatement clause, sir, it says the reinstatement of foregoing principal upon the occurrence of a payment event of default prior to the expected end date of the current IMF program. Now, sir, as we did with respect to as you can imagine, sir, when you're negotiating and people are prepared to give up something, as part of the negotiations, as is the same case with the domestic side, given the various haircuts that institutions would have taken in order to restructure the debt, part of the condition is that obviously if the government fails to live up to its end of the bargain, which as you could appreciate, sir, would be par for the course, we agree to these terms, and therefore by agreeing to these terms, the government has a responsibility on its side to ensure that it can live up to those terms. And so therefore, we are committed, sir, to the success of the Barbados Economic Recovery and Transformation Program. We will continue to work at achieving those results, and through you, sir, there will be a second review of the IMF in November, and we will anticipate, sir, that given the progress that we've made so far, that they will be able to signal to their board that Barbados remains on track with respect to the program, and therefore, certainly, we do not anticipate any departure from that. So whilst the clause is there for the external, it's also there with respect to the domestic side, but we remain committed, sir, to ensuring that the management of the public finances, the reforms that are required in government to be seen through are all part of the package, sir, that would allow for Barbados to recover significantly from the last few years. Now, sir, 2 Fridays ago, as you would be aware, the government, in conjunction with the Creditor Committee, the External Creditor Committee, launched a press release outlining the agreed terms outlining that there was an in principle agreement with respect to the resolution of the external debt. And I have articulated for you this morning, sir, what are the terms with respect to the external debt and how the government wishes now to proceed with respect to bringing to closure this part of our adjustment in order to deliver a recovery for Barbados. Now, sir, we did this because we had absolutely to do everything, sir, to save the Barbados dollar. Everything. And it has not been an easy 17 months, sir. And I say through you, sir, to Barbadians, that we have to redouble our efforts now, sir, redouble our efforts to accelerate, sir, the implementation of the various reforms that are required in government such that we can unlock greater growth as quickly as possible. And whilst the have reached this stage with respect to the debt restructuring, our ability, sir, within the government and certainly the Ministry of Finance, to help the rest of government, sir, improve on the service delivery to the public. We are embarking, sir, on ensuring that we make it as easy as possible, sir, for persons to as I say, to pay government, and how effectively and efficiently we can perform our duties within the Ministry of Finance, working with the other ministries and agencies of government. These other reforms now, sir, have to take root, they have to be accelerated, and we remain committed, sir, to working with all of these stakeholders, including the private sector, as well as the labor movement, as well as the NGO sector, sir, to ensure that our policy making, sir, reaches the ordinary Barbadian, and that the ordinary Barbadian, sir, recognizes that whilst there is some hard work still left to be done, that there are opportunities. Now, sir, I want to indicate to Barbadians that yes, we have had to restructure our debt, domestic and external. Yes, haircuts have been given to institutions and pensioners, but I want to remind you, sir, that Order number 7, which speaks to the validation bill for the domestic debt, that Order number 7, sir, that for those pensioners that were impacted by the domestic debt restructuring, that we have already advanced to each pensioner this year, depending on the size holdings that they had, up to $50,000 in cash, which was paid $30,000 in November last year, $20,000 in March of this year, and they have continued since April to receive monthly payments if they have holdings up to $250,000, which will continue for the next 42 months. And that therefore we have sought to ensure that we can cushion those pensioners who were previously holding government debt by allowing them a cash flow that would allow for them, in given that they're living on fixed incomes, to be able to live their lives in relative so that the quality of their lifestyle, sir, is not diminished because of cash flow or financial circumstances. And we put that in place, and that is essentially what we are validating in a sense today, because we did include the prepayment clause. And the government, sir, absolutely reserves the right to prepay. And we will, as circumstances allow, because it is our intent, sir, to reduce the debt to GDP as quickly as possible, such that we can free up the resources in the economy to actually go to more productive spaces. But I want to indicate, sir, that we have had engaged over the last few months some external entities that are actively, in a sense, making the secondary market. And I speak now, sir, to other domestic financial institutions, because I had an opportunity to speak on Friday, sir, and I had to raise this point in that environment. Too often, sir, and I know that Barbadians like to acquire knowledge, sir, and that is a good thing. But it is now the application of that knowledge, sir, that is critical if we're going to improve the lives of our citizens. And what is interesting, sir, is that over the last few months, we've had a couple of foreign entities. There's nothing wrong with the fact that they're foreign, except that they're the ones now actively engaging in making the secondary market for the trading of our restructured bonds. And I'm saying to our domestic institutions that yes, we had to restructure the domestic debt, but it would be a shame, I believe, sir, that where others see an opportunity and a belief in the government of Barbados with respect to the Burt Plan, that it would be a shame that domestic entities who are so minded can also take advantage of such opportunities. Now, whilst I can never advise people directly in terms of what to do with their monies, because obviously you have shareholders and boards or what have you to report to, the reality is that there are people on the outside of Barbados, sir, looking at what is happening because this government took decisive action. Because whether we like it or not, sir, the way that financial markets work, people are always looking for an opportunity to make money. And oftentimes, domestically, we are a little too slow to respond when others are seeing what the government of Barbados is doing and would have seen what the trajectory for the credit rating over the last, certainly in the last 5 years, coming down, and would have recognized that at some point the government will have to deal with this debt. And that when the government deals with this debt, there's an opportunity within the secondary market space for financial institutions then to come in and to, one, either bring enhanced relief to individual or small companies who might have been impacted, who may need shorter term financing. And it is that lack of action, sir, on the part of domestic companies, financial companies especially, that I would say, sir, that they need to recognize the opportunity for what it is. Because whilst we cannot stop people from selling their bonds to whomever, I would rather, sir, that we have active companies domestically engaging in such an opportunity rather than it solely being companies on the outside, recognizing that this government has taken decisive action, which is a signal to the market that Barbados is open and ready for business, but yet people on the inside, within our shores, don't see that same opportunity. And that whether you're an insurance company, a bank, a credit union, Part 3 company, whatever it is, sir, that there is an opportunity to help create some greater returns for your shareholders or your members or what have you, simply by recognizing that there's an opportunity. And as I said, sir, because our debt was so expensive that in a lot of instances, the monies had already, in terms of the capital, that in terms of the monies that would have been repaid over the course of the bonds, then in fact, while some financial institutions took the opportunity because of this thing called IFRS 9, sir, to recognize all the losses in 1 year, which they're entitled to do from an accounting perspective, the reality is that a lot of the cash flow, sir, into these businesses is, need not relate to actual losses, because the investment income that would have been received over the course of the years, and certainly as the ratings, certainly as the credit ratings would have impacted the cost of the debt, of servicing the debt, then in fact persons would have made, in some instances, relatively supernormal profits. But now that we've had to do the restructuring and the cash flow will continue, it just all that it will mean in the end, sir, is that rather than making, in the case that I gave you before of the mortgage where you might end up paying $300,000 or $400,000 in interest, it just means that the total repayment package in the end, it means that you get less interest income on it. And the reality is, sir, that financial institutions, yes, operate differently from the rest of the economy, because of the need to ensure that there's financial stability within the sector. But we have not done anything, sir, that has destabilized either any financial institution in Barbados, where there may have been the potential for any stability, any instability. We recognize the context in where regulatory forbearance will be undertaken, allowing said institutions a period of time in order to be able to make good on any specific capital requirement. And so we have looked at this very, very carefully to ensure that our domestic financial institutions were not significantly impacted in any way with respect to their solvency and their ability to supply quality financial services to the public. And this comprehensive debt restructuring, sir, is not just the length of time that it took, but as we now become the first country in the world, sir, to have the adverse weather clause as part of the innovation in both the domestic as well as the external debt, that we have, in going through this process, given ourselves an opportunity so that in the event that there is an unfortunate event of a significant hurricane or other weather-related matter, that we have the capacity and some elbow room in order to be able to build back and to do so as quickly as possible. Now, sir, this debt restructuring, both on the domestic and the external side, was really about the future of Barbados and changing the arc, sir, with respect to the future of our children, which is why, as I read out earlier, sir, in terms of dealing with the debt and the last point about paying the fees for Barbadians at the university, and in a sense, sir, to ensure that those who are currently back at university now, that their children's children will also, or I should say their children, will also come of age in an economy where they don't feel as if there are no opportunities available to them. And therefore, our work, sir, as the government of Barbados over the next 18 months, 2 years, sir, is to provide the avenue, sir, for as much opportunity as possible that will deliver growth that is inclusive, sir. And it means that we will take a relatively unconventional approach, because we have already started, sir, to re-engage with our young people, because as you are aware, sir, growth in any economy only really comes from young people leaving school, entering the workforce, making their contribution, demanding new goods and new services, sir, such that the other demographics, sir, whether within the household, because we know, sir, from all of us in here, sir, when we were conducting our mass canvasses, know the circumstances of the households in Barbados. And we know, sir, that many households in Barbados were relying in a lot of instances on persons with pensions as perhaps the single breadwinner in the family. In all of our canvases, sir, with BLP on the road, the length and breadth of Barbados, sir, we encounter this from constituency to constituency. And therefore, when we undertook this domestic debt restructuring, and as the other reforms that we are seeking to implement as part of government, there has to be, sir, and I say this to the country through you, sir, our focus on young people is intended, sir, deliberately to help the other demographics. Because as we have gone from house to house to house, sir, we have seen instances where people have had to move back home with their children. that has created a little bit of stress within the households because of what took place under the previous government. And therefore, as we get young people re-engaged into the economy, and you know, sir, how proud you feel when you get your first paycheck and you run home to your mother or your grandmother and you get them a little something, because that, you know how that makes you feel. And for too many young people, sir, they have been deprived of that opportunity because of the policies of a reckless government that ran this country in the past, that stifled, sir, the life out of almost any opportunity for young people over the last 10 years. But as we focus now on that, sir, and I say we're focusing on young people not at the extent of other demographics, but because the demand that those young people will bring for new goods and new services will be supplied in part by some of the other demographics. So for those persons who may feel as if the government is not thinking about you, the way that we now have to look at how the potential for boosting household income rests, sir, with getting as many young people within the house working so that the household income, sir, can increase rapidly. It means then, sir, that once those young people are working and they're helping to contribute to financing their households, they're demanding new goods and services in the market, and it means that those older persons, either with businesses or in other companies, will be able to help supply some of those very goods and services that the young people will consume. That is how growth, sir, happens in the economy. And in the last 10 years, sir, too many young people left school and they have not had a job 5 years, sir, 6 years, 7 years. And that is a cumulative impact, sir, and that is where we are working as a government to put a significant dent within that high level of youth unemployment, because in order for the recovery, sir, truly to take root, it means that for one, that set of young people who have not worked, we need to find and engage them as quickly as possible, and for those who are immediately coming out, we need to create the opportunities for them to be able to get access to opportunities. Now we've started, sir, with the launch of the Trust Loan Program to help some young people to be able to start their own businesses. It is still a very tough economy. I accept that it is, sir. But the economy is as tough as it is, sir, because when we took office on May 25th, sir, as I said earlier, this entire country was looking over a cliff. The trajectory was downward, sir. And we have worked over the last 17 months to pull this country back, sir, to pull this country back from over the cliff. There's still a lot of work left to be done, sir, because as we have pulled this country back from the brink, we now set about the task, or accelerate, I should say, the task of transformation. Because we don't just want to come back on top of the cliff, sir, and wait for the next people to come along and push you over. We want, sir, to build resilient families, resilient communities. And it's going to take a Herculean effort on the part of the entire government, sir, the entire government, to work with all of the stakeholders, sir, because we owe the young people of this country, sir, we owe the young people of this country every effort that we can expend, sir, at this time to ensure that they can see a brighter future, not just for themselves, but certainly their immediate families and for any families that they may wish to start in the future. Because whilst we have done the work to stabilize on the macro side, and we shall continue, sir, to provide that stability through how we manage the public finances, The rest now, sir, of government, the entire government, we are vested in ensuring that that macroeconomic stability that we have restored can be felt at the grassroots level, because that, sir, is where it is needed. And the reality is, sir, a lot of the social issues that we are facing as a country, a lot, not all, but a lot of the social issues, sir, has came about because of the lack of leadership, the lack of focus on what matters. And this Barbados Labour Party government, sir, we are vested and will continue to demonstrate, sir, that we have the competence, the capacity, the capability, sir, and the confidence and the desire to make tough decisions, sir, and to make them work. Because the people of Barbados, sir, elected all of us, sir, to make those decisions. To make those decisions. Because the people recognized, sir, that this country was going over a cliff. And they did not want to go over a cliff, sir, for any reason. And so we have come to this place, sir, to set about a transformation of Barbados. And I'm asking the Barbados through you again, sir, that there are many, many reforms left to be implemented. And as we implement these reforms, sir, whilst everybody will not always agree with every aspect of everything that we're doing, the leadership, sir, that the rest of us in this chamber are showing for the people of Barbados, the leadership, sir, that we have shown in terms of engaging in very, very tough conversations. Because there are a lot of things, sir, that should have been changed too long ago. And it is literally, sir, costing us to maintain those systems, and we're not seeing the kind of benefits that we should be seeing. And therefore, whilst we have done this very, very important early work in providing the stability for the country, the rest of the reforms now, sir, are absolutely, absolutely critical. And as a government, sir, I want to commend my colleagues for the support, because this has not been an easy undertaking whatsoever. The government certainly, and certainly I want to thank, before I conclude, I really want to thank the officers, sir, within the Ministry of Finance. I want to equally, sir, thank the members of the External Creditor Committee who engaged with us openly, and, sir, at times there were exchanges, as you could imagine, with respect to how we were going to arrive at this place. We staked out, sir, what our principles were as a government and how we will execute on those principles. We have demonstrated, sir, and worked with the social partnership, sir, to maintain a level of engagement as well as dialogue, stability, sir, with respect to the conduct of the affairs of the country. That we shall also continue to do, sir, because it is critical that Barbadians understand what his government is doing, why it is doing it, sir, so that they can feel confident that on a daily basis, sir, as they go about their business, that they know that they elected a government last year to work on its behalf, and that the government continues, sir, to work on its behalf, and that we, sir, shall not waver from what we came to office to do. In restructuring our debt, sir, and I go back to the manifesto, because number one spoke to rebuilding our foreign reserves. And Through our debt restructuring last year and entering into the fund program, sir, our reserves have recovered significantly. Yes, in part to the fact that we got some monies from the IDB and the CDB. But beyond that, sir, because of the confidence that the market has taken with respect to what is taking place in Barbados, we are seeing a level of inflows that we have not seen for some time. Let me put it that way. Because when we look at all of the charts which we see on a daily basis, sir, and you go back to 14, 15, all you saw was the reserves going down, 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 down. Things now are, in a sense, returning to normal. And by normal meaning, sir, when I was a young economist at the central bank, sir, and we were monitoring these things, that's the kind of normality that I am accustomed to. Right. And we are seeing that normality appear again. And that speaks to confidence, sir, in terms of what the government is doing. We want to accelerate that, and we have sought to remove every potential hurdle that the government or the public sector would usually be blamed for with respect to the execution of projects, because we understand, sir, that as a bureaucracy, we have to modernize, and we are seeking to modernize, and it was at the same time ensuring that our ability to conduct business and for people to conduct business with either the government of Barbados or in Barbados, that is as easy as possible. And so that is being addressed, and we anticipate, sir, that notwithstanding the fact that we have received support from the IDB and the CDB as part of their commitment and their recognition that the plan that Barbados has outlined is working, that has been verified by the International Monetary Fund. When they do their surveillance, we exchange our information and data freely. And let me say to you, sir, having attended my second set of annual meetings with the fund and the World Bank, there's a different feel in that environment about Barbados. And if I didn't know it before, sir, that matters. And as the Prime Minister said on Saturday, sir, if you do not engage with people when decisions have to be made, sir, you will not get the benefit of the doubt. And we have committed ourselves, sir, to that open engagement. We will capitalize, sir, on all the possible technical assistance that we can get from any agency or multilateral that we are engaged with across the whole of government, because when we say that many hands make light work, sir, we mean it. We mean it. And therefore, we have embarked on a very aggressive program, certainly within the Ministry of engaging in technical assistance, and the rest of government is equally engaged in that process. And we give the country our assurance, sir, that having done this initial work to provide the stability in terms of dealing with the debt and to rebuilding the foreign reserves, that we now embark on a phase where we shall maintain the stability, but move aggressively, sir, to ensure that we can continue to attract foreign direct investment, that we can continue to manage our fiscal affairs, sir, that in this, as we go forward, that gives consumers in Barbados, businesses in Barbados, sir, as well as investors, the kind of confidence that they had in Barbados 15 years ago. Now, sir, we still have work to do. We admit there is work to be done. But the people of Barbados ought to know that the government is not asleep at the wheel, as was the case in the previous administration. The results, sir, should speak for themselves, but we do not, sir, tap ourselves on the back to rejoice, because we know that for too many Barbadians, sir, for too many Barbadians, there's still a lot to deliver. And strategically, sir, this government is working to ensure that, as I said, we can crack those hurdles that impacted the ability for young people to gain employment over the last 10 years. We are working to mobilize resources and opportunities to deliver better growth and inclusive growth in the economy. We shall continue, sir, to support small enterprises and to help people start and expand their businesses. We are going to continue, sir, to seek out opportunities, not just regionally but internationally as well, to give young Barbadians the confidence that they can explore opportunities outside of Barbados, not with a view of running from Barbados as they had the view under the last administration, but that we will, through our diplomatic engagements and our unlocking of opportunities, sir, that we expose young people, sir, to opportunities outside rather than young people running from Barbados because they feel as if there's no opportunity for them here. And we, sir, are engaging on a full-pronged attack, sir, on resolving these long-standing structural issues so that as we have achieved this level of stability on the macro side, that we can ensure that the families and the communities across Barbados, that they can see the benefits of this transformation. And so, sir, as I shall wrap up shortly, but I want to make this last point. During the estimates of this year, we indicated what the cost was with respect to the engagement of our debt advisors. And it is important for this chamber to note, as I said earlier, that the cost of our debt restructuring, sir, yes, it is a lot of money. But we are going to save, sir, and I repeat it again, we are going to save $5 billion over the next 4 years. And if you ask any Barbadian, whether in Cheapside, sir, or Oystons or Sixmans, whether or not that is good value, sir, then I would be very surprised if they do not agree that the government of Barbados would seek out in their interest the best advice to be had to ensure that we can pull back from the cliff, sir, because when you look around the world with respect to debt restructuring, sir, and without not wanting to cast any aspersions, when you look at Greece, sir, and the failure of Greece to, one, associate themselves with the adjustment with respect to the economy, but also with respect to the debt restructuring, then you get, sir, a perpetual level of social and economic instability simply because the government has not led with respect to getting the best advice and bringing resolution to what is a very serious problem. And so we have committed ourselves, sir, because of the situation that we were in, that we will procure the best advice, sir, in order to achieve the kind of results that we are seeing today. And we remain committed, sir, to realizing those savings, to pushing the other reforms through that I mentioned are critical with respect to stabilizing the economy. And these are the things, sir, that are required when you find yourself, sir, with very little options. We exercise good judgment, sir, by taking the initial briefing from the Ministry of Finance on May 25th, as well as the Central Bank officially, and then this government, sir, led by the Honorable Prime Minister, set about the task of not just saving the Barbados dollar, but I dare say, sir, saving this country from economic disaster. There's still work to be done. There's been many a sacrifice, sir, made on the part of too many Barbadians because of the incompetence of the last government, and we remain committed, sir, to ensuring that this government will focus on creating the opportunities that will deliver inclusive growth. And with those few words, sir, I wish to move few, yes. With those few words, sir, I wish to move that the resolution now pass.
Thank you. We're obliged. Member for St. Michael East, Sophie.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I beg to move the suspension of the sitting until 1:45 p.m.
Yeah. Go ahead. Signs here. You suspend the house. One. Someone second it, please. You second it? Second it. The question is that this house be suspended until 1:45 today. All members in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. This house is now suspended until 1:45 today.